Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I'm listening to Stephen A. I'm listening to everybody who's saying that, the Nets should hold on to Kevin Durant. I think they should want to can't hold on to Kevin Durant. The desire to force him to stay should be in place based on the type of player that he is, obviously, and what you expect your team to be going forward for this upcoming season. Stephen A. is making perfect sense. I would want what he's saying the Nets should want, which is just give me 1 year. We can compete for a championship. After that, we'll trade you. I would want that. I would ask for that. I would beg for that. But I don't think Kevin Durant is going to give me that. And I don't think I can force him to give me that. Steven's solution to the situation is, well, if you hold out, then you're just going to have to sit and you have to watch us run. No, Steven. You're going to run a team that's not good enough to win when you do that, and you're doing it purposefully because you won't trade it for the requisite amount of pieces that you can get back for it that would keep you in contention if you do it correctly. You said it yourself. They're good enough to win, right? Then being able to trade Kevin Durant for what he's worth should be able to keep them give them that ability to do so, because he should be able to get you that type of haul. Now, obviously, he's tanked his trade value since he's been doing all of this. Has changed everything. Plus the market we're in also, which has stagnated the process of making that trade in the first place. Plus the presence of Ben Simmons' contract, making it difficult to bring other players to him that otherwise would make it easy to make a trade already. All of these things are in place, making it so that nobody can move. So it's no sense in starting the process of talking about forcing people to start the season when we know that there's no real path to a decent trade at all right now. So it's not like people are doing anything wrong. I think everybody is still trying to get a trade for Kevin Durant. I think they're going to try to work until they get one done. And that's it. There's no need for all this, I'm going to force you this, we're going to do all that. If you can't get a trade, then you move forward with what you have and go forward, and that's it. I don't think Kevin Durant should continue to go forward and hold out because of the presence of everything I just said. He should suit up. I don't think he should stand on his square on that. You put your uniform on as a basketball player and you go out there and represent yourself because you have the right to do so. Your body is physically able to do so. Your mind is still able to do so, and you respect the game to that degree. We just lost Bill Russell. This ain't the year to stand on that square off principle when we know that the possibility of you moving isn't there. So that's the reason that needs to be said to Kevin Durant. I get it. You want to stand, you think they've done wrong by you. It's this, that, and the third, and the presence of possibly getting hurt while waiting to get traded. All that makes sense, and it's important, especially at this age. And that is his biggest logical play in regards to this, is saying, look, if I go out there and play for y'all while I'm waiting to get traded and get hurt, I'm in my 30s. I don't know how I come back from an injury, depending on what it is. I can't afford to do that, and that is the logic behind holding out if you're Kevin Durant. You're waiting to get into a different situation, so you can't afford to really possibly get hurt or that's the only thing you really say in regards to holding out. But even that, honestly, ain't going to be good enough, and I already know that too. So at this point, I just tell them to suit up and play, man. Suit up and play, and the Nets be diligent about getting a trade done and make it happen. Do not delay. Do not play around with this man. He is not going to want to do this for you. He ain't going to give you 1 year. Stephen A. is going to force you to be in a situation where you're not going to be able to get nothing good for him in return by holding out for 1 year and having that situation drag out as it's going to be into the collective bargaining situation as well. And this man ain't traded because of what? Because of what exactly? Principle? Come on now. We can't suggest that. Is that what we're suggesting? That the Nets compromise the collective bargaining situation by furthering this situation and making it more of a controversy than it needs to be? Because Kevin Durant's going to throw a fit. And his friends will as well. And you guys got to understand that. You got to understand that. For those who think Kevin Durant is alone, you fools. You don't want to see this thing play out if it gets ugly. You do not want to see that. So what I'm saying is, to keep the peace, I think Kevin should put his uniform on, and I think the Nets should try to trade him. Do not play games with this situation. It's already been disrespect going back and forth between those two sides, and as somebody who's watching from afar, that's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Kevin had already disrespected Josiah. Josiah has obviously already disrespected Kevin. Kyrie, that whole situation is disrespect there, so it's not about coming back and repairing relationships. Lines have been crossed. And that's what I understand. So it's like, look, I think I'm saying what Adam Silver is probably saying behind the scenes, and probably a bunch of agents as well. You guys need to make this move. You don't need to make a stupid move or rush a move, but both parties need to part ways so that locker room and that front office can be cohesive and have good energy in it. Because otherwise, no, it only gets worse. That's it. So that's how I look at the situation. If everything that has been reported is the case, that's how I see it. Because people holding out, it's just going to make it a lot worse. A lot worse. Kevin Durant wants out. He is now demanding things that he knows he's not going to get to make the situation worse. And waiting a whole year, he is not Ben Simmons. You know, he's not telling you there's anything wrong at all with him in regards to wanting to play. He wants to get on the floor, and he's healthy, and he's one of the best players ever. And, you know, I just know that the NBA does not want this looming for an entire year. So I can't follow Stephen A there. I think the Nets should want this, though. If they can convince him to play for a year, that's obviously what you want to do. You know what I mean? If you really believe you have a championship team. And if it is a championship level team, Kevin Durant needs to respect that he's walking away from it. But the thing I know about championship teams is that it's hard not to win. It's hard to win a championship when your chemistry is bad, when the foundation of your chemistry is bad. Now, triumph can come from them situations as well. You go through the worst turmoil, it brings you closer together. You have great triumphs together. You go through wars together. By the end of the season, you're the best unit ever because of the turmoil that brought you together. But I just don't know that disrespect can provide a foundation for that. I don't know that. I'm not in my walks of life. No, when there's disrespect, you don't have good moments. Because when you lose, it's a problem. And when you win, guys are kind of respecting each other. Yeah, they're happy for themselves. But how can you win in those situations? You know, when people don't believe in the coach. You know, people don't believe in the GM. The GM has bad blood with the players. So it's a lot of stuff that's working against the Nets. Even if you believe their team is good enough, it's still a lot working against them. They haven't fired Steve Nash. What is he supposed to coach Kevin Durant to a championship after this? Kevin Durant asked this man to be fired. You know what I mean? Or it's me or him. And so what? This is supposed to come together. I guess they're gonna have a conversation now. I don't know, man. I just don't see that. I don't see the chemistry even possible there. So on top of the fact that I don't believe in the roster itself, personally, hey, I think they need to make moves, and I think they need to make big moves in order to make themselves what they want to become. So that's what I've been saying. That's what it's going to be in my mind. But for Joe Tsai's sake, if I'm rooting for him and I'm a Nets fan, I just want Kevin to give me 1 year. 1 year. 1 year. I can tell Kevin, look, all things are bad right now, but I've seen situations where they've gotten better. You stay 1 year, a lot can happen. A multitude of things can happen that can bring a team together in 1 year. So if I'm rooting for the Nets, which I'm not, I would tell Kevin Durant to give us that 1 year, and we will let him fly. And if you do good things in that 1 year, your trade value goes up. Makes it harder to trade you to a place that you would be happy to trade to. I don't know if that's a good thing. But anyway, at this point, that's what I would say if I'm a Nets fan. Please give us 1 year. I think we can win. So, I don't know. I'm not rooting for y'all, man. I'm a Laker fan, and I want you guys to give us your point guard, honestly. And I know that this situation is going to resolve with the Lakers hoping to acquire Kyrie Irving. So, that's what I'm on. But, you know, objectively speaking, it's one of those situations where it's like the Nets fans didn't ask for any of this. And so that's why I'm asking for the Joe Tsai and just basically Joe Tsai, because I do think he needs to make some moves, big ones, with his front office. But to give them a foundation, you know, understanding what has gone wrong with your franchise. And this conversation's been had maybe 3 times already. But I do believe that they keep mortgaging all of their natural picks and natural talent, and they just never get a chance to actually replenish properly, thus being a team that's not good enough that's always paid over the luxury tax. It's costing Joe Tsai so much money not having his own players with their own bird rights, you know, and having their own rights, natural rights to these players. Everybody they get, they did not draft, so it's so expensive to hold on to a championship team in that situation. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. If you look at what Golden State did, what did they do? They had their own picks. Now, of course, they had to get lucky, but how do you get lucky? By being prepared. They made sure that they had the state-of-the-art everything ahead of everybody else. That's what they were thinking back then, before they even acquired all the great talent. They were talking about how they were going to form their new building and, of course, get the state-of-the-art scouts and things of that nature that we now see in place for Golden State to be that good. They didn't go mortgage everything and just, let me get that star, let me get that star, let me get that star, take all these picks and give them away and do that kind of stuff. No, they got what they needed slowly but surely. Some of that stuff was luck. Most of it was preparation. And they played the long game and they're winning. And they were sustainably winning like the Spurs did, which is what doing things properly does for you. So if he wants his thing to really work, then he's going to remove these distractions, take all the bad energy out of his team, and then learn about what actually works in terms of sustainable growth in NBA basketball, because that's what it's about. You get your scouts right, you get your farm system right, you get your picks, you draft properly, and you build a culture that is interchangeable in nature so that you can get pieces that come in and out of it. Good coach, strong foundation in strength. You know, you get your slogan, all that good stuff, and you make sure that you always stay flexible. That's how you win the NBA. And pay attention to how the field is changing. As it changes, stay ahead of it if possible, but always remain balanced. If you can keep that going, you will always be in a position to not only be good, but to capture greatness as it comes around. And that doesn't matter in terms of, okay, we're a good team, 50 win season. Now next year we're a 32 win team. We're not talking about that. We're talking about being flexible and being in position from year to year to always be able to grab the best talent, to always be in position to take advantage of opportunities that fall in your lap. A lot of times people do things wrong around the bad luck, and that's why they keep getting bad luck. So I look at the Nets, and they're a great example of that. The Knicks, same thing. Sometimes it's things that you do around the bad luck that positions you to be in position to capture that bad luck. If you were a little better, you wouldn't have been in that situation. If you would have made a better situation, maybe been a little worse, so that you could have captured a better pick. These type of things are real, but you don't actually understand it that way because it looks like it's all luck. So that's what I'm saying to the Nets. Instead of asking to keep Kevin Durant, you move past Kevin Durant. You start thinking about how to make yourself the team in New York. And it's not about getting today's player and competing with the Knicks today and none of that. No, it's about building something sustainable and seeing yourself build outwards so that you're the best team in 2035. From 2035 to 2045. That's how I think. And it starts right now by doing things properly and building a culture that can be interchangeable and flexible for years and years and years and years. As you stay flexible, then you really start gathering the best talent. It's about having long-term flexibility and never swaying from that in terms of short-term opportunities to win championships here and there, which a lot of teams find their success in. I think the Miami Heat find their success that way. I think the Lakers have been finding their success that way lately, but the key to that is having the locale. And while Brooklyn tends to have the locale, they don't necessarily have it in comparison to those places, which keep them at an advantage, which is why flexibility must matter most for Brooklyn. But in understanding that they will be able to attract talent because they are in New York. So, yeah, that's my plan for the Brooklyn Nets. I would make sure they're damn good. They would be very good if I were running things, but they would have to be very bad for the short term right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome. Trust me, I'm a Laker fan. I watched us be bad for 7 years. It was the greatest thing. I mean, the first year sucked, but after we started getting young talent, oh my goodness, we have way more fun than we've been having these last couple years. I'm not lying. That's my average Laker fan. We loved having the kids, man. So go through that for a little while, and that opens up a possibility that can really make you really, really good. But keep doing things the way they are, and they're going to constantly be chasing success that is barely obtainable. And the problem is, because they're the Nets, what I'm gathering is the media is going to cap for them. I don't know what the hell the relationship between the media and this team is, but they're always trying to fluff them up to try to turn them into Lakers East. They want to make them into something that they're not, but can be if they start doing things properly. And that's the point. You already got the media behind you. Now all you got to do is start doing things right. and then boom, you will be Lakers East. I see that coming. You just got to start doing things right. So I don't think Joe Tsai should sell the team. I also don't think he should be thinking about Kevin Durant. Trade him now. Trade Kyrie now. Heck, you can even trade Ben Simmons now if you don't see a plan for him. And turn yourself into a team that can start from zero, like Utah, like Indy, like Portland. Team will not be very good right now. Who cares? You've always been the Nets. It doesn't matter. People expect you to be bad. Be bad, but be bad with intent. And start preparing yourself to be the best you can be from a foundational standpoint. Build, 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 build. It takes time. People get impatient. Yeah, we're not so good yet, but build, 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 build. Look up. You're on a Christmas Day game. You got the best players, and they're not trying to get the hell out of there. Why? Because they're in a flexible situation that they've always been in because you drafted them, or they chose to be there because they wanted to come to Brooklyn and play with all these great players, just like Golden State. That's how you do it. If the Spurs can do it, you can do it. I ain't gonna say the Lakers because we have the LA locale, but other teams have made dynasties out of lesser situations. Yeah. So, yeah, when you have the media presence as it is, it can be a little difficult. Stars have to be wired a certain way to have that type of attention. And I see it coming, but you do have the presence of the Knicks that's going to balance it out, so it's not like it's always going to be on you. Anyway, but nevertheless, I do see a greater plan for the Brooklyn Nets if they stop thinking about today so much. Get so caught up in today. Oh my God, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's going to be gone in like 3 years, dude. He's going to retire 4 years after this contract probably. With all this madness going on. It's like, yeah, you can go forward with Kevin Durant, but after that era, if you tap into the championship, cool, yeah, you get a championship, but you still have the same problems that I'm telling you you're going to have to go through the process of addressing this way in order to not have anymore. So, yeah, go through this Kevin Durant thing. Cool. After that, start the process I just said. And then that's going to send you out to, 2040 instead of 35, as I'm saying it? Whatever. Point is, just prolonging the rebuilding process, which can be good if you have good things in the short term. But if you don't have enough in the short term, or if what you have wants out in the short term, then start the process now. Video 44. Thank you for watching.